Hello, everyone, or no one, and welcome to Diddle Gaming. I'm a bad gamer, and I played Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I found this.
This is Star Wars.
So, this is a game that I've known about for many years, but I kinda just forgotten about it. It came out in 2017, and at that point I had so much to do that I didn't really have time to play this game, and it went into oblivion and I forgot about it. So, when I suddenly saw this pop up on a super duper sale on Steam, I thought, well, let's finally try it out. I consider myself a medium Star Wars fan. I watched all the TV shows and movies, and I played a couple of the Star Wars games in the past, but I'm not a lore master. I don't buy merch and I don't buy books and stuff like that. What I like about the Star Wars universe is that it means something different for everyone. For some, it's the good versus evil, Sith and Jedi, and the fantasy of powers, the Force and lightsaber duels. For others, it's values, politics, fighting for what you believe in, rebel against tyranny, leadership and inspiring others. You have scavengers, you have criminal organizations, etc., etc. It's so many things. What I like about it is that it's a dystopia and not a utopia. It's a fight for survival and standing for your values. And of course, I'm not going to cry over big laser fights. So, let's talk about the game Star Wars Battlefront 2. And here are the 5 things I learned from playing it. Number 1. Let's start with the obvious one. The game is dead. The game came out in 2017, and its main selling point was the massive battles against other players, PvP. So for it to be alive after 7 years is not expected. But it is still some people playing it. It's not many, but some. You have quite long queues, and it's quite hard being a new player, as you have to level up to acquire more skills and abilities. And you have to do that separately for each class you want to play. So it's a bit of a grind, and that's not easy when nobody's really playing the game. The people that's still playing the game has been very loyal to the game, and they are quite skilled and powerful. So you do get a solid beating when you play against them. Heroes versus villains is still quite alive, as it requires fewer people. But I'm very bad at the game, so I just get totally annihilated. Number 2. The story. The game comes with a short little single-player story the game wants to tell you. It takes place around the end of the Galactic Empire, and it has a DLC that skips some years ahead into the time around the Force Awakens era. You follow the main character Iden Versio, that starts out as an elite soldier of the Galactic Empire, and then of course different stuff happens, and she betrays the Empire, and then seeks refuge at the Rebel Alliance. The story itself, it's not rocking my world, as it's so short. It's like maybe 6 hours of gameplay, including the DLC. It's cool though, however, as you interact with iconic characters from the movies, and you do go to well-known places. But where things get really juicy for me is if you take each campaign mission separately and take a look at the gameplay of those. I just love them. And for me, this is Star Wars. Number 3. The campaign. Oh god, I love the missions in the campaign. I think they are so cool, with a mix of epic space battles, invading spaceships, fighting on the ground, using the different walkers, destroying them, using TIE fighters, X-Wings, all these iconic cool stuff, mixed with the really good sound effects of the guns, the explosions, the X-Wings, and an awesome soundtrack to cover it in the background. I just love this part of the game. I played the campaign like 3 or 4 times already. Ironically, I think maybe the missions I dislike the most are the ones where you play as a lightsaber wielder. I think the shooting stuff they really nailed from a gameplay perspective, but using a lightsaber feels a little bit janky in the beginning and takes some time getting used to, at least compared to other Star Wars games where you use lightsabers. But I don't really care that much about it because I just absolutely enjoy the feeling and the vibe of this campaign. The game also has some scenario missions where you need to like kill X amount of enemies or something like that. It's a nice addition, but I feel like they lack a little of the epicness of massive space battles or invading planets and stuff like that, which leads me to think number 4. Why on earth isn't there a Star Wars game that focuses on a Clone Wars story that has the same game style from the campaign in this game? Yes, you can have some PvP possibilities and maybe you can have like co-op campaigns, but imagine if you play like a commander or a soldier in either the Republic side or the Separatist side, where you take the idea of the space battles and ground battles from this game, follow the lore that's already there in the Clone Wars, where you invade planets, fight in space, fight along iconic characters from the Clone Wars series on actual location from the series. You can have big, massive space battles or planet invasions where you fight alongside like Ahsoka or Anakin if you're on the Republic side, and you can fight alongside like Ventress and Grievous and Dooku if you choose the Separatist side. As an example of gameplay, let's say you play as a Republican soldier. You have to defeat a Separatist blockade of a planet and then invade it. As the Separatist side, you of course defend the blockade and then either destroy the Republican armada, or maybe there's some reinforcements coming that you also have to defeat them. How cool wouldn't that possibly be? If they nailed the gameplay and the feeling of a game like that, I would need to change to white pants every time I booted up the game, and I would boot it up a lot. Number 5. The bad stuff. The game crashes a lot. I guess it doesn't matter anymore as the game is practically dead and it had its moments of glory, so I guess it doesn't matter anymore. For me, most of the crashes happens when booting up the game, and I don't think I'm alone on that issue. The community seems to be fairly toxic sometimes, and I've seen it's reported to be a fair amount of cheaters lurking around. The EA launcher lives its own life. For me, it doesn't know internet exists until I try to connect to it like 8-9 times, then suddenly it says, oh, I'm online. And then I can finally play the game, assuming it started. So, internet. Those were the 5 things I learned playing this game. Super fun game, short and sweet experience for me. I really wished I played it when it was on its high peak. It felt like it really catches the Star Wars vibe in the campaign, and I don't understand why they build on that and just follow the Clone Wars story, as the technology is clearly here. So internet, this is it for me. I will leave you now with some words of wisdom from the Steam reviews. I bid you farewell.
Oh yeah, I love this game always. Too bad no one is ever playing. They can watch me die over and over and over and over. Has same music as the movies, instantly makes it amazing. The worst system of this game was the grinding to upgrade your troops. EA has abandoned this game when they ran out of microtransactions. It's overrun with hackers. It's a great game, but EA has no idea how to pump more money from it. And they refuse to clean the servers of hackers. Not sure of other platforms, but for PC it's lost. Star Wars Battlefront 2 still looks great. The graphics have aged well. The campaign is fun, and the multiplayer can be a blast when you manage to join a game. But getting into a multiplayer match isn't easy. And when you do, hackers often ruin the experience. This really hurts what could be a great game. I would not recommend the game if you are purely looking to get into multiplayer for the reasons above. Star Wars. The game was fantastic years ago. Now, empty servers, a lot of cheaters, children playing and raging. servers who crash all the time. If you find games, mostly veterans, who are far, far better than you. So if you can buy it extremely cheap to play single player, which is okay, sure, go for it. But playing multi, and especially at the prices for 20, 30 euros per day, only if you're crazy and love to waste money. I like playing as General Grievous. He is so hot. I shot an Ewok. I will shoot another. The Force will be with you. Always.